Fellas and fellettes, do you remember sitting on the couch, your dad flipping through TV channels, and suddenly this weird auction show comes on? You hear a guy yell, "Yep," from across the screen, and somehow you're locked in for the next 4 hours? That, my friends, was Storage Wars. And this show was absolutely freaking insane. Storage Wars was the reality TV show equivalent of a raccoon rummaging through a dumpster, except it made for prime cable TV at the time, believe it or not. It had drama, it had treasure, and it had a lot of lies, and not just in the show either. We'll talk about that. Before we go much further into this video, I do actually want to clarify something. So this show stopped recording after 2023, and at that point, it was essentially dead in the water. But just this year, about 2 months ago, at the time of filming this, while doing research, I found out that they brought it back. And Dave Hester is actually in the newer season. However, a lot of the other people are not. And for all intensive purposes, this video is mostly about the peak of this show and not necessarily a revival per se. Now let's get back to me going a little hog wild. And bro, let me tell you, when I was an 11-year-old watching this show, I thought Brandy was such a baddie, which is probably something I should unpack with my therapist, but yeah. Well, actually, nah, she is still kind of a baddie. Scratch all that. But let's unpack the real locker here. Storage Wars wasn't just dumb. It was geniusly dumb and also pretty fake. And they also got sued. Let's talk about it all. The basic premise of the show is that storage lockers go up for auction, and the buyers only get a brief look inside of the lockers before they put down thousands and thousands of dollars on these lockers and whatever items might be inside of them. Then, after they've won the lockers, they actually just dig through them like rabid cows. It's crazy. You should see them. Milk's flying everywhere. It's basically a garage sale hosted by a cryptid hoarder. A little bit concerning. But the twist behind all of it is sometimes they find items that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, and sometimes they find an old used sock. And I do not want to know what was in that sock. Or maybe I do. Just a while back today, I found this $100,000 gold medal in a storage locker.
20 years earlier.
Premio via bilingue.
The champion, baby. We won, baby. We did it!
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Now, you cannot talk about this show without talking about its characters. These characters were like literal cartoons. I felt like sometimes I was watching Cartoon Network with how crazy these people were. And what was super funny is they all played like this stereotyped role. You had Dave Hester, who was the villain. His catchphrase was literally just yelling, "Yup," as loud as humanly possible and louder than anyone else. And he was like a Pokemon, but his only move was being annoying.
But I'm not done pissing everybody off.
But I literally ate every bit of that up. I love this dude. He is so annoyingly stupid, and honestly, he might be my role model at the same time. Then you had Brandy and Jared, the normal quote-unquote couple. They were far from normal. She was the brain though, and he was also there. He was there. Jared, you're there. Well done, buddy. But she was very much there. But yeah, they were both two entertaining people, and they just made the show better. I also remember when I was a kid, them saying like some outlandish things. I don't know if this is true, and I'm gonna see if I can find it for the video. But yeah, they were wild and sometimes.
I'm going all in on this one.
I need a straitjacket and a muzzle.
What the is right? Eat your banana.
Then you had Barry freaking Weiss, baby. Literally an enigma. This guy, was he even real, bro? This dude would show up in like a custom car that he just randomly found, wearing like these cool ass sunglasses, say something cryptic.
One thing you do is you keep secrets to yourself in this business.
All right, and one day we'll be in the desert and I'll have the canteen.
That's real.
And then he dipped. If we're being honest though, this dude was like literally the coolest person on earth, maybe. Like, I totally want him to be my cool uncle. But these people weren't just like cast like a lot of other shows. These people were genuinely a lot of times the show. Like, did we really care half the time what they got in the lockers, or did we just want to see Brandy and Jared yell at each other or Barry pull up in some crazy car? I think the latter. And honestly, all of these people made you feel something. A lot of times it was confusion, but other times it was just pure insanity. I loved it. There also were like some other characters, but like these were the characters. The others, do we really care about them? Okay, so I was actually editing this video when a thought just randomly popped in my mind. I was talking about all the characters and I literally spaced the biggest, my personal, most favorite one. His name was Darrell Sheets. He went by The Gambler as his nickname, but he was an absolute character. And this dude was hilarious. I kept thinking about Dave's yup for like the catchphrase, but Darrell also had one. He always was like, this is the wow factor.
A wow factor is something that's cool. It makes you go wow. That, my friends, is the wow factor right there.
The wow factor doesn't even begin to describe this locker.
This is the wow factor.
I remember, what is up with all these guys just randomly having catchphrases? Like, who do they think they are, bro? Superman? Like, what is going on? It's a Storage Wars show, bro. You're not like saving the world or something. There's no bat signal calling you. But anyways, this dude was absolutely hilarious. And upon looking it up, I kind of forgot about this too. This dude was like known for uncovering super high value items. Like he found Picasso paintings, he found rare comic book collections, and actually even found a human corpse in one locker. So, you know, the producers were planting stuff for bro, but he was bidding high. And he was well known for his bidding style as well. He was very bold with his bidding. I can't believe I almost forgot this dude. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
At some point in the show's history, people really started asking, why does every single locker contain a banger item? Why is there a bag of gold doubloons next to a stapler? That makes no sense. Well, it turns out a lot of this stuff was actually planted for the people in the show. Dave Hester, yeah, that guy. 600 bucks? 600. He actually went ahead and filed a lawsuit towards the show, basically alleging that the show was fake and they were planting items. He claimed producers would stuff lockers with a bunch of valuable stuff before they started filming, which this is both wild, but also explains why somebody once found a full-size coffin. Does anyone know whose coffin it is? They might want it back. In the lawsuit documents, they said, quote, nearly every aspect of the show is faked, which, I mean, if you watch it, it's pretty accurate. So yeah, that $20,000 comic book collection was probably slipped in by a PA on set. He was sipping his Red Bull with his clipboard and doing the Lord's work, which I like that guy. What a nice guy. Give that guy a raise.
So I actually do want to talk a little bit more about this big lawsuit because Dave sued for wrongful termination, defamation, and unpaid money. And then A&E fired back at him with a ton of money and denial, which was kind of funny. This whole thing basically turned into like a TV-worthy court case, which is kind of poetic in a lot of ways. But eventually Dave got an undisclosed settlement and just disappeared from the show, which I mean, you can kind of assume what that means. But his legacy as the yup guy or whatever, that stuff still lives on, especially in my mind. I hear that yup like rattling in my dreams usually about 3 in the morning sometimes. Yeah. Maybe I should seek help. Yep. So what actually led to the decline and eventual memification of this show? A lot of times, shows that have chaos and just pure insanity run for a long time, just because audience love that. And at the surface, you would think, wow, this show would be doing really good right now, because a lot of people still love that. But over time, the real kicker was audiences caught on. We all figured out that, you know, the lockers were fake. There's a lot of fake things in the show. Things are planted, and there was like drama around the show, obviously, with Dave. So people were figuring out all of the issues as time passed, and the magic kind of faded in that sense. The show got too formulaic, if you will. It wasn't like a Survivor that I've covered previously. You should check that video out if you haven't, where it's just consistently chugged along. No, this show was a little bit different, where at the end, it started going downhill. Lovable characters started not appearing as much, and that was really what led to the decline of this show. And it still, to this day, does make for some fantastic memes, if we're being honest, though. Towards the end, every locker was starting to kind of become a weird mashup of, like, Pawn Stars, Antique Roadshow, and Hoarders. I don't know if you've ever seen or remember those shows. Maybe we'll cover them at some point. But eventually, Storage Wars kind of turned into, like, background noise for, like, oil changes or waiting rooms. I've seen a lot of these play, and a lot of oil changes that I've been to, funny enough. I don't know what's up with the car guys, but I guess they're still rocking with Storage Wars. I don't really know. But the memes did survive. They're still out there, baby. I'll put some up on screen. They're so peak. Cinema. Absolute cinema. But overall, my final thoughts on this show was, for its time, it was unbelievably entertaining. And it really was a fun show that, overall, my childhood would not have been the same without. I still remember to this day, me and my dad screaming, "Yup!" at the top of our lungs every time we'd act like we were bidding on something in the show. That's how impactful the show at the time was. But at the same time, this show was also kind of a fever dream for a lot of other reasons. It was fake, it was chaotic, and it was kind of dumb. In fact, it was dumb. But it also was pretty brilliant, really. The concept itself did something unlike any other show, really, and it just spiced things up enough with its characters that always made it really entertaining. It also tricked a generation into thinking that we could get rich by buying other people's junk, realistically. And I'll tell you, at one point when I was a little fella, a little tiny guy, I was like, "Mom, can we go buy a massive storage locker so that I can find a really cool dead mummy 2-minute?" She said no. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I will. But it did give us Dave, it gave us Brandy, it gave us Barry Weiss, maybe the most interesting man in the world. I love Barry. And maybe I still love Brandy too. And even if it was fake, it was fun fake. And I think that's what's so important about it. It is a cultural icon at this point for us that actually watch this show. In a world of mobile game ads, we talking about ads?
Download Raid. Use this promo code.
And TikTok drama these days. I kind of miss the days when fake reality was just some sweaty dudes and Brandy, my beloved, fighting over a storage unit full of Beanie Babies. Good times. Good times. $600, 600, and $600, 600, and 600. Dang, man. I kind of miss that show.
You better make sure you get that number.